Hello, 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 and welcome to my podcast, Life with Jode, where we talk about anything and everything. On today's episode, we're going to be doing a Valentine's Day special. This is where I'm going to be talking about what's happened in the past, what happens in the present, any stories that I've got, how I met my partner, what Valentine's Day means to me, and I also have a few stories from you guys at the end. So please stay tuned. So let's get into it. What does Valentine's Day mean to me? So Valentine's Day, I used to love it. I used to love the idea of love and showing love and just giving gifts. I am a Pisces, so I just want to do anything for anyone and give as much as I can give to people. So I would do words of affirmation, gift giving, acts of service, all that. But now that I've gotten older, I feel like Valentine's Day is extremely overrated. I feel like it is a bit of a con for people to be spending loads of money when you could potentially just do it all year round. I do enjoy the idea of, just sharing the love with not just your partner. This could be your family members, friends, all that jazz. But yeah, as I've gotten older, Valentine's Day is just another day. It's not something that is on my priority list. I do feel like prices do skyrocket quite often around the time of Valentine's Day. So it's just hard, especially if you are on a budget and you can't particularly afford much. I do feel like it's not a necessity. I would much rather celebrate someone's birthday over the Valentine's Day itself. So that's kind of like where I stand on it. A lot of people do have the similar views that it is a bit of a kind of like a money day where corporations get loads of money due to the fact that people are spending loads of money. Whereas people are completely opposite. People love Valentine's Day. People love gift giving. People love words of affirmation. All like the love languages, putting it out there, showing the love to everyone, which is great to see. No hate towards you guys whatsoever. So previous years, when I was in secondary school, no, I don't know if it was late primary school or early secondary school, there was like a rose giving thing on Valentine's Day. I used to have a little crush on a boy in my year. I think he was also in my kind of like group class. We'd do these roses and I would wait all day for a rose from that guy and I wouldn't get one. And I remember that he ended up giving one to another girl in the year and I was just a bit like, oh, that's fantastic. Thank you for that. So there was the whole kind of like stigma around gift giving and stuff like that from a young age for Valentine's Day. It was only a rose. It was probably only like 10p back in the day. So it was a nice gesture, but a gesture that I never received. Also growing up, my mum would always write me a Valentine's Day card, but always write it from your secret admirer. And so, funny story, my mum's left-handed. So she used to write this card with her right hand, which isn't very strong, just so that I couldn't tell that it was her handwriting. She used to do it for years and years. And I think at one point, a couple of years running, she would give me the card and I thought it was from the guy that I had a crush on. I'd be like, oh my God, how does he know my address? What the da-da-da-da? My mum kind of like played along with the story. He probably just figured out where you lived, or he gave it to you in your school bag and you didn't realise, type of thing. Yeah, there was a few years where I thought the secret admirer was my crush. It wasn't. it was my mum, which was a very thoughtful and generous thing for her to be doing, kind of like doing these cards and putting the thought and effort into it and just making Valentine's Day special for your kids, which I feel like it will be something that I'm going to do when I have my own kids, is kind of like not build a massive stigma around it, but I feel like we would celebrate Valentine's Day a little bit with the children, and maybe give them cards and a few chocolate heart things. Not go all out, because I don't feel like it is a day that you should go all out for, but definitely want to give them that form of memory and just feel loved, because that's all you want for your kids, isn't it, really? So, falling back onto love languages, I am a big believer in star signs and love languages and how they all fall into play. I am not like devoted to following that kind of star sign. This is what your star sign means. This is exactly who you are. Because I do feel like everyone's personalities are different. But at the minute, with everything that I'm seeing on my Instagram feed is, so I'm a Pisces. Pisces is probably one of the most star signs that is based around love and people pleasing and giving your all to everyone and just being the best person you can be for everyone. So I do believe, with traits that I'm seeing in myself, alongside obviously kind of like my mental health, it is something that is becoming extremely visible for me. Pisces, like I said, very giving love, wanting to receive love, giving all to that person. I 100% agree with that. With my love languages, because of the person that I am and because of my star sign a little bit, I feel like I fall into every category of love languages compared to a few people that might not fit into them categories. So I kind of like, following on from my last episode where I bend into a person for another person, I feel like depending on who my friend is, depending on who the family member is, depending on the guy that I'm with, will depend on what love language will come through in the end. With my current partner, who I am happy with and will hopefully spend the rest of my life with, he is very physical touch. I feel like his love language is very much physical, cuddling, holding hands, kissing, not even really touching per se, but just being in a close vicinity to you. That is very much his love language in my views. He doesn't particularly shed most emotions. He doesn't particularly say much. So his strong suit isn't words of affirmation at all. So if anyone doesn't know, our anniversary is the 12th of February. He's done that on purpose, and I'm going to go into that a little bit later on. But relating to what I'm talking about now is, I woke up really early on the 12th of February to go to work. I had a morning shift, so I got up, got ready, left the house. I got home and went straight upstairs for a shower. I got sidetracked with anything and everything and took about an hour to actually complete my shower, get into it and complete it. Anyway, I'm coming off track now. So I was prattling about upstairs for around about an hour. I come downstairs and I go into the kitchen to grab a drink, and I see an A5 piece of paper on the kitchen side, and he had written this lovely little letter wishing us a happy anniversary. I'm not going to go into it because I don't think he'd appreciate me sharing everything that he says, but basically just giving the words of affirmation to me, and it was the sweetest thing because he doesn't particularly do that very often. And it brought a tear to my eye. And then I messaged him going, "Oh, I've seen the letter, thank you." And he goes, "What took you so long?" I am very much words of affirmation. I will tell him how much I love him. Sometimes it can be a bit excessive in a day. It just depends on my mood, and it depends on how I'm feeling and what I'm going through that day. It depends on how much I explode the love. There's also gift giving. I've kind of simmered down with that one. I used to be a really big gift giver, whether that was getting them their favourite drink, getting them their favourite chocolate, or I know that they want a certain thing, I'll go out and buy it them. I've simmered down with that one. Kyle isn't a very materialistic person, doesn't particularly want or need much in the physical sense of gifts. Don't get me wrong, I will get him birthday and Christmas presents, but it won't be a massive platform in the relationship where I buy gifts every week or whatever. Acts of service. I would say that a lot of our acts of service aren't a massive thing anymore because we live together. We both have like the roles in the house where his role is to take the bin out. I don't do that. Then my role is to cook. Like we do share the tasks, but we do have our main. Okay, Jodie, you're home from a certain time onwards. When he's starting on to come home, I'll put tea on, ready for it to be nearly done for when he gets home. He does cook sometimes, not saying that he doesn't, he does. And he's a good cook. When we go out, he will offer to drive. But yeah, I feel like that is a massive act of service, in my opinion. Obviously, everyone has different opinions and experiences and stuff like that of what a love language means to them. I am sure I've missed other love languages, but honestly, from the top of my head, and I've not written them down, I can't remember what the others are. One thing about Valentine's Day that I don't particularly like is the stigma around it. And what I mean by that is I feel like as a woman, there is a lot of things that we need to think about for Valentine's Day to please the other half. So whether you are in a same-sex relationship, whether you are straight, whatever, I feel like as a woman yourself, you feel like there may be a lot of stigma around how you look, what you should wear, what you should be doing, what you should be saying, all that jazz. So for the notes that I've written down here, it's kind of like the expectations and the stigma around putting yourself together, getting your hair done, doing your makeup, being shaven or waxed, having maybe a nice set or a nice new set of underwear for the romantic evening side of things. It's just a lot of pressure, and in today's society with everything that you see on the internet, I do feel like it is extremely hard, especially for people that don't have the money, don't have the confidence, have children at any age really, having to look after that side of things as well as maintaining the look and the desire. And I just feel like Valentine's Day doesn't particularly help that. Obviously, you do have Galentines, and some Valentine's Days or couples don't have that expectation of each other, which is lovely. I know that we don't have that expectation of each other, which is fantastic, and I am so happy and grateful for that. But you always do want to make an effort for your other half. If you have the time, the money, the mental capacity that day, yeah, I don't like the stigma or the expectations that revolve around Valentine's Day. So that is probably another reason why I don't particularly choose Valentine's Day over any other kind of celebration day of the year. So, my experiences from past Valentine's Days. So, I have obviously brought to the attention of my mum doing me cards, the roses in school. When I actually got into relationships, I have actually been having a quick think, not delving too much into certain relationships because I don't want to um, unwind in that horrible mental state of what happened during them. But a lot of my relationships have started at the end slash beginning of a year. So Valentine's Day has always been a thing in my relationships. The first person I was ever dating, I think they took me out for a nice meal and got me one of them Pandora birthstone rings. I don't think I have that ring anymore. And that was like when I was 16, 15, 16. So like it's the norm for a meal and a nice little gift. My other experience with Valentine's Day was I was dating someone that had a child with someone else. Me and that person had a bit of a bicker and misunderstanding. So, but as the childish person that they were, they ran off back to mummy and daddy's and didn't kind of like just stay and have a chat. So I remember that Valentine's Day, I had written them a card. Like I said, words of affirmation. So there was a card. And then because we'd fallen out, I'd written them like a 4-page letter expressing how I felt and all this, thinking that they would at least see me on Valentine's Day. They didn't. I went over to their parents' house to either see them or just drop off this card, and they saw me turn up at the doorstep and walked the opposite direction. So that was a massive red flag. I should have listened to that one. But I was seeing someone during the second lockdown. It was still quite scarce for everything in the February of 2021. Basically, what I did was he lived in an annex, which kind of like was on the back of his parents' house, because I lived in the middle of nowhere. So what I did, I got his favourite chocolates, his favourite drink. I then decorated with balloons and pictures hanging from the ceiling of us. I also wrote on the back of the pictures of kind of like when it was or what we'd been doing, or kind of like a little quote and stuff like that. I think we made our own tea. I think he cooked some sort of steak or something from what I can remember. I can't remember very much. It's very vivid. I just remember what I did for that person. And that person wasn't a very emotional, forward person. So he didn't really show much emotion in it. But I was happy with what I'd done. I was happy with the way I'd perceived everything. So that's probably one of the better Valentine's Days that I remember, on the part of what I've done for that person. And then from that point onwards, the Valentine's Days I have been with Kyle. So flipping back onto the whole anniversary and Valentine's Day, I'm going to talk about the little story of how me and Kyle got together, and it may give you an insight of to everything really. So me and Kyle met on Hinge in December 2022. He asked me out on a date for New Year's and invited me to a New Year's party that his friend was having. Bearing in mind I'd barely been speaking to him and I was extremely nervous. So I turned and said no. Plus I already had plans with work colleagues going to their house and celebrating New Year's. So what I suggested instead was, why don't we go for breakfast New Year's Day morning? And then I bailed on him. And then I think I bailed on him 2 more times after that, mainly due to nerves and being scared and not wanting to get close to another person for them to hurt my feelings again. One day I messaged him and was like, okay, because at this point I was still living at home. I messaged him and I was like, okay, my mum is out for the evening. It's just me in the house. You can come over, we can watch a film, we can have a takeout. But letting you know, I've just got out of the shower and my hair's wet. I'm in my jogging bottoms. I'm not getting dressed. I'm not getting ready for you to come over. So you're basically going to have to see me in my quote unquote worst stage. And if you can put up with me looking like that, you can put up with me looking like anything. So he come over, we watched Lion King, which is by far my favourite Disney film. And I think we had like a kebab or something for the takeout. And then he ended up going home. We did share a little kiss while he was there. And then from that point onwards, I couldn't shake him. I'm joking, Kyle. But the next time he saw me after that, he basically was babysitting me on a bottomless brunch with my best friend at the time. Just before it was due to finish, he had got dropped off. Not gonna lie to you, I was gone by the time he'd come, but because we were sat inside, it hadn't hit me yet. So I do remember certain conversations me and my best friend were having with him when we were inside. And then as soon as we left Slug and Lettuce, I was on my arse. I can barely remember where we went or what we did. So that was fun. And then he helped me get home. And the only thing I remember from that point is being sat on the floor at home in my mum's house, giggling, listening to my mum go, oh, so what's your name? How old are you? What do you do? Do you drive? Whereabouts do you live? And I'm just like, I sat there on the floor just laughing, feeling so sorry for him because I love my mum to pieces, but she's very nosy. And then, like I said, from that point onwards, didn't shake the guy. He saw me at my worst and he saw me completely drunk out my mind and he still stayed. So I am not complaining whatsoever. So this meeting and stuff was like the start of January. On the 12th of February, he decided to take me out. He took me to like, I think it was Roxy Ballroom and then this grill place for food. And that was the evening he asked me to be his girlfriend. Wasn't romantic in the slightest of how he said it. We were playing a game of golf pool, or whatever it is. It's basically like mini golf, but on a pool table. Very fun. I believe I won both games because I'm amazing. But I remember him pulling me in, giving me a kiss and going, so is that it now? Are we official? And I was just there like, oh, go on then. Like, why not? How romantic. But isn't it, like I said, words of affirmation aren't his strong suit. So I took it as a win. He then let me into a little secret of the fact that he asked me to be his girlfriend on the 12th of February so that he didn't have to play into the hands of Valentine's Day, February the 14th. So yeah, that's the reason why we don't really do Valentine's Day and the reason why our anniversary is 2 days before it. But I've been with the guy 2 years now and wouldn't change him for the world. He does do my head in. If your partner doesn't do your head in, I feel like there's something wrong. But definitely the best decision I have ever made is being with Kyle and I am so happy. We are now going to move on to the last part of the episode. I am moving on to the stories that everyone has written into me. I've had to cut down on the stories due to how many I received and how long this video has actually turned out to be. So I'm going to get into the stories. I might give an opinion or two, not going to be hating, just going to give my opinion on certain things. Don't want people to think I'm being rude, but I feel like that might be just a little bit more fun. So my first entry was from Crystal. She said she doesn't have many stories. The only story she's got was in 2023. She had pureed steak and sweet potato fries. This is due to her being a bariatric girly. She only just had her surgery, so wanted to keep the romance alive. So her husband, Stephen, had a full steak dinner and she purified her own so that they could still have the same food. And honestly, I think that is the cutest thing ever. Still being able to share the same kind of vibe with your partner, even though you've had a surgery that you're unable to eat proper food yet. A brilliant idea. Absolutely love it. So my next story is from Natalie. She says, in my first marriage, it didn't mean much at all. My ex-husband wasn't bothered, so it was a non-event, which is a bit rubbish. At least get a card, box of chocolates, bunch of flowers, cook a nice dinner, make a tiny bit of it. Like I said earlier, I don't believe in falling into the trap of spending loads of money for that person, but at least putting a post on Facebook, sending a text message can go a long way. You don't have to support the day, but if you know your person supports that day, just do something for them. It doesn't have to be a massive gesture, it just has to be a gesture. Natalie also says, since I had children, one of them which has autism, I have decided to make sure that they know so much in life worth celebrating. I do make a big thing about Valentine's Day. We have heart-shaped plates and glasses, and we have a bit of party food. They are 5 and 7 and they love it. I love that idea. Like I said earlier, when I have kids of my own, I am definitely going to show them love and stuff like that. So I love that idea. I am going to probably steal that idea when I have kids of my own. The last one that she sent in was extremely romantic. So, my best Valentine's Day was in 2022 when my husband proposed to me whilst we were on the Empire State Building in New York. As cringy as this sounds, he has shown me a better way how to be loved and appreciated for who I am. He loved me through thick and thin. This year, I have booked for us to go to a meal, got a beautiful dress in a size 10, which still amazes her because she is another lady from the bariatric community and has lost weight, feeling herself, having the amazing opportunity to not only feel good in a relationship but feel good in herself, which just empowers you so much more. And then she also mentions that she has booked a night away together for the half term. I'm hoping that is kid free for you because that's just amazing. That whole situation, I love it. I love the cringe ideas. Personally, if my partner, who I love to pieces, proposes to me on Valentine's Day, I'm probably going to say yes because I want to be with him. But I would rather him not do that. So Kyle, take hints. But the fact of Empire State Building in New York, it's just so romantic. It is just a gesture in itself. And I dream big. Pisces dream big. And that is probably one of the dreams that I've actually probably haven't had, going to Paris and getting proposed to on the Eiffel Tower, or going to Rome near the Colosseum, Trevi Fountain. When we went to Italy and we got up extremely early that morning to go to Trevi Fountain to see it where no one was there. The amount of photo shoots we saw with people in wedding dresses, people getting engaged, it's just It's cringe, but it is the most romantic thing, in my opinion. This next entry is from Jada. Her story is a little bit more of the probably embarrassing side. So she says, I was trying to be really romantic, set the table for a nice cooked steak, chips, mushrooms, and then came the peppercorn sauce. This was bubbling and getting too thick. I had left the hobs on in the kitchen as it was cold, and then because the sauce was bubbling away, I grabbed the saucepan handle which was over the hob, so all the sauce ended up on the floor. I scalded my hand and ended up having to get my fella to take me to hospital, and we were sat in hospital till 3 a.m. in the morning. She was extremely hurt at the time, but now she looks back on the story, she finds it so funny, which I can believe that this would be something that I would do. I am so stupid. I leave handles over open flames. Not so much at the minute because our hob is electric, but when I was at my mum's, I used to do that all the time because I'm an idiot. I still grab stuff wrong, even out of a microwave, and I burn myself. So I completely sympathise with you for that one. It is definitely something that I would end up doing because I am an idiot. But yeah, it's all fun and games. My last entry is from Sarah. When I was 13, I used to imagine I was with Spike from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. When he got with Hermione, if that's her name, I was so upset that I cried and wrote about it in my diary, slagging her off. You know what? And I think I replied to you saying this, to be fair. That was me when I used to watch High School Musical and Troy Bolton got with Gabriella. I was fuming. Like, how old was I when High School Musical came out? Probably like, I don't even know. Probably about, I have no idea. When did High School Musical come out? Oh my god. Anyway, yeah, that was me hating on Gabriella. Oh my god, what do you think you're doing? Troy's mine. But yeah, definitely 100%. Feel like every girl has that phase. They have a celebrity crush, or a character crush, and as soon as that character decides to get involved with someone, you're like, excuse me, he's mine. But yeah, I completely agree. So funny, so relatable. Definitely, definitely some good stories there, and I really appreciate everyone that got involved and helped me out today with your little stories. I hope you all have had a lovely Valentine's Day. I love each and every one of you, and I appreciate the support that I get from everyone. I wish you all the best and all the love, and I will see you guys next time in my next episode. Bye! If you have a story, big or small, please don't hesitate to get in contact with me via my email, lifewithjode@gmail.com. You can message me on my socials, which is at Jode's Gastric Bypass or at _lifewithjode_. These will also be linked below in the description. You can listen to my podcast on Podbean, Apple Music, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. I also offer a video version over on my YouTube channel, which is Life with Jode. And that's a wrap from me. I'll speak to you next week on another episode of Life with Jode.